Now, you also have strategic in your top 5. Can you talk a little bit about how a diplomat uses strategic, especially with respect to foreign policy?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one to have delineated like that, because I always thought of myself as a strategic thinker. What's 10 steps ahead, or what's 5 steps ahead, and so I, having been a person who recently took their strength, it was interesting to me because it made me very reflective on some of the things that I've done throughout, or decisions that I've made throughout my life. And so I think that strategic is a huge part of who I am as a professional, because I do want to think 5 and 10 steps ahead if I can. And I used to call it, when working with my staff, I used to say, what's the cuff list? Meaning, the cuff on a sleeve. Let's at least think that far out. It may not be hard and fast. Sometimes in policy circles, it's called a trip list or a trigger list. What are the triggers that may cause X, Y, and Z? I'm not that formal necessarily in my day-to-day work per se, but I always try to think 4 or 5 steps ahead, even if I don't sort of make it into a formal trip list or a trigger list. And so when I see things happening throughout the world, I'm saying, how didn't someone at least have that on a list, even on the back of a napkin list of a potential outcome? So what are the unintended consequences? And I think that where we have challenges, almost any government, is when we haven't thought about the unintended consequences. And I think that's important. And, I think that for my experience, having, even if it's informal, just having that thought process 5 or 10 steps ahead. Maybe 10 is too far, but it's certainly, from the 1 to 5 area, if you're in a strategic position, you should at least do that.